I'm about to make a video that is going to be A, controversial, B, really require you to have an open mind, and C, just watch the whole video, because if you don't, it's really going to take this whole video to tie this together. So I was reading the books of Enoch, this translation. Now I have another translation of this over here, which I showed in my original video, the complete 70 book Apocrypha, including writings of the apostolic fathers. And in this book, this one in particular, this translation, Lord of Spirits, is how he refers to God. There's one other so far. Now I'm only on page 72, but Eternal Lord is the only other reference other than one time saying God. Now this translation of the 70 Apocrypha uses the term God all the time. Now the term God has always irked me. It really irritates me. I don't like the word. And so I start reading this, and I gotta say, this irritated the hell out of me. It really did. And the third was named Gadriel. He it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death, and he led astray Eve and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men. The shield and the coat of mail and the sword of battle and all the weapons of death to the children of men. And from his hand they proceeded against those who dwell on earth from that day and forevermore. Now keep in mind, the fallen angels were essentially descendants of Noah, grandson, whose name is Ham, who they were the Canaanites. Just keep that in mind. So I'm going to show you this. Can you read that? Okay, it's this one in orange. This is the one I'm talking about. Freeze that if you want to read it. Now keep in mind that, and I'm not going to put it in this video, this particular video, but they have talked about finding Noah, and he's like 18 feet tall. I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but I will talk about that in another, just for your information, basically. So then I came to, and I've never used GPT ever. The name Gadriel can be shortened to GAD. GAD in the Bible, God, is a Hebrew word meaning fortune or luck. It is also the name of one of the 12 tribes of Israel. So, descended from God, son of Jacob and Zilpah, a prophet who advised King David. Now, King David was where Jesus came from. He's descendant of King David. Now, we got two different meanings of the word here, and that is going to come in hand. So God with an O is the English term for the supreme being or creator, depending on your religious tradition, which isn't exactly true, but we'll get to that. Then the words come from different linguistic roots. God, G-A-D, Semitic, which is completely different. So the name Gadriel, sometimes translated God is my help or wall of God, contains El, which means of God in Hebrew. The GAD part is Gadriel, doesn't mean God. It likely means fortunate or refers to true fortune, spirit, depending on etymology. Maybe. So I ask, what did the original Bible refer to God? And it's Yahweh. And if you breathe, it basically sounds like Yahweh. Yahweh. It's basically built in every breath that we take. So did Moses write Yahweh or God's full name? We know God's name was written in the Old Testament over 6,000 times, but was it God's full name or the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh? Because of the Babylonian, keep this in mind, because of the Babylonian exile, they stopped using it altogether and instead used Adonai, and El, Elohim. Now, El is not God, it's a God. In which case, when or how was the Tetragrammaton used? Because if the original authors were writing Yahweh, then that meant they too felt God's name shouldn't be pronounced, which I feel should give people pause for using it nowadays as well. You literally say it every time you breathe. You can't get away from it. You can't get away from it. It's not possible. So then I go to, is God called El in the Bible? Yes, God is called El in the Bible. which is the Hebrew word for God that can refer to the one true God or other deities. El appears as a name for God, often compound like El Shaddai, God Almighty. El Elyon, Most High God. El, God of the Canaanites. Now the Canaanites don't believe in Yahweh. So how are we using El in the Bible? How did it get switched in the Bible when the Canaanites, this is their head god, El is a deity? Why did Yahweh get replaced with God? Yahweh was replaced with God or Lord in many translations because of a Jewish tradition of not pronouncing the sacred name out of reverence. Is it that? Or were they taken over? So I found this article. Was Yahweh a tribal god of the Canaanites? Yahweh did not originate from Canaanites or other similar groups, as some people have thought. Understanding who the Canaanites were is crucial to understanding actions of the Hebrews towards them as described in the Bible. By knowing the history and interactions of Canaanites and can avoid misinterpreting the scriptures, it's important to shed light on historical facts, and the historical facts tell us that Canaanites were an immoral and vicious people. And here is a list of the gods that they believed in. So they believed in multiple gods. Yahweh, however, is not listed in their pantheon. They did not believe in Yahweh. Now, they believed in El, they believed in Anat, Asherah, Astarte, Baal, and many others, everybody but Yahweh. So why is El, which is a deity, being used, translates supposedly to God, why is that being used and mainstream even to this day in the Bible when it's just a deity name? And it's the abbreviation of a fallen angel. So why is that being used? So here's a not really part of this video, but it's here. Mistranslation of text. Jews did this on purpose. I don't know. I have a video. My buddy has a video that's literally has them bragging about how they mistranslated the Bible just to screw us up. I also wanted to look. So are Jews and Arabs descended from Canaanites? The answer to that is yes. It is by far the most frequently used ethnic term in the Bible. Biblical scholar Mark Smith, citing archaeological findings, suggests that the Israelite culture largely overlapped with and derived from Canaanite culture. In short, Israelite culture was largely Canaanite in nature. It's as if the Israelites that God brought out of Egypt were replaced with Canaanites, the illuminated ones. After the fall of Babylon, were the Israelites actually Canaanites? Now, of course, AI says no. But then, after the fall of Babylon, Israelites were not the same as Canaanites, though modern scholarship suggests early Israelites emerged from Canaanite populations and other peoples, and a distinct Israelite culture developed. Biblical narrative describes the Israelites as a distinct people descended from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, while the Canaanites were descendants of Ham, who Ham was not a good person at all. However, the Bible also indicates that two groups coexisted and intermingled, leading to the development of a distinct Israelite culture within Canaan. Now, you got to remember, Ham was, all right, are we working? I love how when you're trying to make videos about this kind of stuff that the devil doesn't want you to make, it just starts having you technical malfunctions. Love it. Anyways, we were talking about Ham, but I want to get down to this because this is important right here. So descendants of Abraham through his son Isaac and grandson Jacob, Israel, they were from the lineage of Noah's son, Shem. This Canaanites, descendants of Canaan, the son of Noah's son Ham, who was basically fallen. And Babylon captivity, the Neo-Babylonian Empire conquered the kingdom of Judah around 586 BCE. Leading to the exile, Babylonian exile. Post-exile, after Babylon fell to the Achaemenid Empire, the Jewish population was allowed to return to Judah and rehabilitate their kingdom, which was originally from Solomon. End of the Canaanite dominance. By the time Israelites established their own kingdom, the term Canaanite was gradually phased out in favor of the regional names. I wanted to talk about another thing. So keep this, the 586 BCE in mind. So we come over to Germany, completely unrelated, right? The English word God evolved from the Proto-Germanic word Guden, which was used around 500 BCE. The oldest known written, the earlier surviving written form of a similar word is found in the 6th century Christian Codex Argentinus. The word likely originated from an even older Proto-Indo-European root, gue, meaning to call or to invoke. Now, does it sound like something like God wants you to do, like the Lord of Spirits, I should say, wants us to do? Or is that something that the pagans and the Canaanites would do, is invoke? So what does the word invoke mean, though? To invoke means to call upon for help like a deity or authority, to put into effect like a law or rule, or to summon like a spirit. Did the Canaanites invoke? Yes, the Canaanites invoked their gods, as is evident in ancient religious texts and archaeological findings, and figures like the god Baal played a central role in their worship, not Yahweh. The Canaanites invoked their gods from various purposes through rituals and prayers. So we've got the ritualistic habits of the Canaanites being used as the term that we use to describe the Lord of Spirits used in the book of Enoch. Why is that? So we go further. If the Canaanites were the last of the Nephilim, how did they survive? Ham was basically, the descendant of Noah, who was basically the creator of the Canaanites. Ham, I'm not going to go into his story, but he was not a good person. So Canaanites, descendants of Ham. Yes, according to the biblical accounts in Genesis, the Canaanites are descendants from Ham, who was the son of Noah. Specifically, Canaan was the son of Ham, and the land of Canaan was named after him. The 1450s is when the Gutenberg Bible came around. It was in Germany. It was a Holy Roman Empire, and it starts using this term God, which, of course, is not actually representative of God. It's representative of El, which is a deity of the Canaanites. What other family was coming around at this time was Vlad Tepes. Now, the reason I say this is their family crest is a dragon. And they come, their lineage comes from Bazarab. Bazarab was Romanian. Is Vlad Tepes part of the Windsor family as well? So the Windsor family, if you don't know, is Germanic. It's German. One of their members just died not too long ago, the Queen Elizabeth. No, but then you got this. No, Vlad Tepes is not part of the Windsor family, but King Charles III is a distant descendant, making Vlad a distant uncle to the current royal family. The link is through Queen Mary of Teck, the great-grandmother of Queen Elizabeth II, who was a descendant of Vlad the Impaler's sons. Therefore, Vlad the Impaler is a distant ancestor, not a direct family member, blah, blah, blah. Vlad Tepes and the dragon. Now, did dragons exist in the Bible? Satan, the most prominent dragon in the Bible, is in the book of Revelation, where it is identified as Satan, the devil, or the ancient serpent. So we've got the Nephilim, who are also satanic, who are also related to the dragons, who are related to this girl. Like you have to use your mind to tie this all together. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because the Windsor family is the most prominent, the most common printer of the current Bible. The Windsor family crest dragon, right here, it's a red dragon. Now, they say the Windsor family's crest does not feature a dragon. Instead, the coat of arms from the United Kingdom, which the House of Windsor represents, featured a crowned lion on the dexter right and a chained unicorn or sinister left as supporters. The dragon is a symbolic historically associated with the English monarchy, particularly the Tudor dynasty, and was often depicted in their arms or associated with St. George. I just want to end this with, did the Canaanites become Jews? To be clear, neither Palestinians nor Jews are Canaanites. Canaanites no longer exist. However, culturally and linguistically, as well as genetically, Jews clearly descend from the ancient Canaanite cultures. So now we bring you to Revelation 3, 8 to 10. I know the works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, who say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship at thy feet, and to know that I love thee, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. I think, and again, this takes some imagination because there's certain things that you can't search on any search engine anymore. The Canaanites are what we now term as the Zionist Jews, and they believe that they are descendants of the Nephilim and the dragons and all that. And you got this Vlad Tepes family, and you got the Windsor family. Here we go. I mean, very simple search. Windsor Text Bible. Windsor was the largest printer of Bibles, may still be, and they controlled everything that we see in the Bible. They even renamed the name of our Creator to match that of their own El God deity, who was a Nephilim that was in charge of deceiving Eve. And also part of this is what is most associated with dragons and stuff like that is chainmail. The weapons of death to the sons of men, that's the shield and the coat of mail, the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to the children of men. Think about it. So you got this, the fallen, the one that basically threw us astray can be summarized as God and El. Godriel is a deity, fallen angel, Nephilim, which Canaanites came from. They took over after Babylon. They created this false satanic, are you back? 3 times now. Three, that this thing just decides to shut itself off. In the middle of me, whatever. Think about it. Think about this lineage. The Canaanites, the Jews, all that they fall. Who is sent back to their land is the Judeans, which is the true Israelites. Because if you read Solomon, where is this? 1 second. Okay. Post-exile, after Babylon fell, the Achaemenid Empire, the Jewish population was allowed to return to Judah. Now, if you read the book of Solomon, he was stripped because he didn't follow what God told him to do. And I'm even calling it God, unfortunately, because it's so beat in my head. He did not listen to the Lord of Spirits or Yahweh. And he went outside of his, tribe, and he started having wives that were in other tribes, and he started building temples to them, and his life was shortened, and he was taken, all tribes were removed from him, except for Judah, the Judeans. And so you got all the 11 other tribes that essentially become, in my mind, Canaanites, and they take over after Babylon, and we have this switch, and then we have, this term God coming around, and it is not the God that we know. It is a deity. I mean, this is my thought. I could be wrong. But the thing that I will close out with is, did Jesus ever say the word God? The answer to that is no. Man, I'm going to close it here. Keep this in mind. I gave you enough stuff to look at. I just thought it was odd that the Lord of Spirits is how he referred to the Creator in the book of Enoch, and that Godriel was the one that led us astray, and possibly still doing so. Use your own discernment. That is what I have found. I just find all of this to be very suspicious. And how many times this camera just keeps cutting out. It's I've had to reshoot this video so many times now. Anyways, hopefully this video gave you some information. Leave any likes, comments down below. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace. And let's not forget that Vlad Tepes comes from a Dracul, blood-sucking family. Kind of odd, right? And he's related to the Windsors, who was printing the Bibles, who was Germanic and originated from the Romanians. Really think about this all that I put out in this video here.